Okay, let's get into tonight's talk. All of us have dreams, goals, things that we really, really, really want to happen in our lives. When we're young, we are full of energy and dreams, and all the possibilities seem endless. And it doesn't take long for that to go away. I mean, real life sets in, real life happens. Sometimes it's in your job. Sometimes it's in relationships. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could just be the way life settles in, the demands that we have on us, the ambitions, all of that interferes with the flow of the innocent dreams that we had when we were younger, the things that seemed like they could happen just because we wished it so. Well, it didn't take long for us to find out that that wasn't going to happen. But what happened to the dreams? We get down the road in life and we think, okay, after I do this, I'll have time to do that. And when I get to this point, I'll start here. Sometimes you work on your dream and your vision your whole life through. But then there comes that point where some of us sort of hit a brick wall and think, is it ever going to happen? It wasn't supposed to be this way. The situation that I had so hoped for, the career I hoped for, the plateaus in life that I absolutely could not see myself not attaining. I saw myself there, but you look around and it's not like that. Maybe the relationship didn't work out. Maybe you're with somebody and it's not working out. And you think, I did all the right things. I did everything that I knew to do, and it's not happening. There's obstacles in my way. And quite honestly, you get a little tired. Last week, we talked about Paul in the storm in Acts 27, how they threw things overboard, threw baggage overboard. And I encouraged you and me to get rid of the baggage in our lives that we don't need, the things that weigh us down and slow us down and hinder us from getting to that desired dream. And some see it as purpose in life. Well, there's some other things besides the baggage that hold us back. And we want to explore some of that just for a moment. But I want you to think about that dream. And it doesn't have to be a dream that was unfulfilled. It might be something new that just came up in the last year, the last 6 months, the last 30 days. And it looks great. It looks fantastic. And you're excited about it. You can see it. But life has taught us to doubt and be skeptical and wonder whether it can happen. I'm writing a little ebook called You've Got What It Takes. Well, you've got what it takes. Whatever it is that you want, you have what it takes. And we know that. We know that because we are indwelled by Spirit, by God. We are the temple of God. And since God cannot fail, then we can't fail. Those are the kind of simple principles that we kind of just overlook. If we are truly indwelled by God, then that which we are desiring has to happen. If it's for our good and for the good of others around us, and no one will be harmed, why would it not happen? God desires that God manifest God's self through us for the world to see in so many different ways. And so when we say namaste to each other, we're saying, I honor the God in you. I see the God in you. That's not just poetry. That is real. God resides in you and in me. And I want to kind of drive that in so you'll have that as a reference point as we go through this talk. God is inside of us, not sometimes. There is no separation. God does not come and go. God is there. You and I are unique manifestations of God. We are reflections of God in the earth. And so there is no time when we do not reflect God. And oh, yeah, I know you're thinking, not all the time. We might be thinking something, might be someplace we shouldn't be, might be in a situation that has caused us some frustration, and we're responding in a way that we do not feel is godly. Okay, fine, you make that judgment for yourself, but God is still there. Even when you feel that you are not behaving or feeling in a godly way, God is still there. You could not depend on a God that comes and goes at will, or when there's something that's not cool, God is gone. Well, what about when you need God? Is God going to come back in time? No, you know what? You got to get rid of those notions. God is within us. We are indwelt by spirit all the time, 100% of the time. So since we got that clear, then our dreams or things that we are desiring must happen. If they don't, it is not God, because we do have a habit of blaming God for things. It's not God's time. Maybe God didn't want me to have it. Okay, so just sit that aside for a while. If you like those kinds of explanations, you can keep them, but just sit them aside for just a moment. The Bible says that you are to write the vision and make it plain. So what would be the point in writing the vision and making it plain? That means with clarity and detail. What would be the point of that if it was not possible for the dream to manifest? Think about that. The steps of a good person are orchestrated by God. Just for fun, put that dream, that hope, that vision, that possibility, maybe you're planning something in the future, put that in your mind for just a moment. It's all good. It's all good. And God is in it with you. Why would not that happen? One, we can get in our own way. We can be less than sure or confident. Well, if God is in us and we're not confident, who is it that we are lacking confidence in? We are lacking confidence in ourselves. Okay, cool. We all do. Every now and then we all have stuff in our belief system, in our history as children. We have insecurities. Okay, that's baggage that we have to get rid of. On our journey, those kind of things do pop up. You really think you can do this? You really think, the last couple of times you tried something, you kind of flunked. We have those voices talking to us. Okay, correction. It's not those voices. It's your voice. It is you talking to you. Quiet the voice. Insecurity, lack, and doubt, and all of that are talking. It's like they're having a board meeting against you. Dismiss the meeting. Shut it down. No more talking, because the God that created the universe, the God that created all things, well, what happens to all of that when we're sitting there being defeated by ourselves? The people of Israel were going to the promised land. Moses took the people out of Egypt to the promised land. Simple as that. Remember the 10 commandments that came on every year, I think around Easter time? The promised land is symbolic of our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations. The promised land could be a relationship. The promised land could be an entrepreneurial endeavor. The promised land could be a promotion, a career change, an acquisition of some kind. You labeled the promised land. The people that Moses freed from Egypt were going to the promised land. Moses had a mission, an agenda to get this people to that promised land. But Moses didn't know where the promised land was. He didn't know. He knew that it wasn't in Egypt. He knew that he had to get those folks out of Egypt and get to the promised land. He didn't know whether when he got them out, they were going to go 1 mile or 50 miles. He just got them out. The steps of a good person are ordered or orchestrated by God. God led him the whole way. And you'll remember that there was the pillar of fire and the cloud, one led by day and one led by night. They were divinely directed. You and I are divinely directed. When we become sensitive, if we can just take in those deep breaths so that we can lay aside the frustrations, even for just 5 minutes, for 5 minutes, rekindle that dream, rekindle that vision and that encouraging spirit, that believing spirit, that there is a promised land. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, do I think I can get there? Not that it's not there. You're not questioning whether it's there because you know it's there. You've had that in your spirit for so long. You know it's there, but you doubt whether you can get there at times. You doubt whether it's still possible, or maybe it's not for me. It's for you if you decide that it is. That's one of the things that you do at First Light, is setting your intention for the day. That's good. But we need to set the intention for our life, because we are responsible for our own destiny. We are co-creators in this. God created us in God's own image, breathed the breath of life, the God breath breathed into us. But God didn't just say, okay, make a bunch of robots and wind you up and say, okay, now you do this, this, and this. And if you step out of line, you're going to get smacked. That's not true. We have free will to dream, to desire that promised land, whatever that is inside of us. And God, Spirit, puts everything there for us to be successful. When we focus on what we want, when we focus, and we've said that before, when we focus on what we want, remember, energy flows where the attention goes. So we put our attention on what we want, that promised land, then the God energy focus and moves in that direction. And you and I can't do it by ourselves. We do what we can. That's why we say we are co-creators with God. We're in this with God together. God does God's part, we do our part. The part that God does, we can't do. We do the best we can, and we stay focused, and God brings, Spirit brings, the universe brings all the component parts together to get us there. And it sounds like a perfect scenario. It sounds like a perfect plan. And guess what? It is. It's just that sometimes we lose our focus along the way. Obstacles happen, situations frustrate us, we have setbacks, but the promised land is still there. Just like when Moses brought those folks out of Egypt, stuff happened along the way. Different things happened, and only 2 of the original people that left Egypt got there. Moses didn't even get there. But when they got there, guess what? Their promised land was there. The promised land didn't keep moving away. God didn't manufacture it or create it while the folks were on their way there. The promised land was always there. It was up to those people to stay focused, move in the direction that Spirit urged them, showed them, and by the way, was providing for their needs along the way. And when they got there, the promised land was there. That's what promise is. So when we formulate those dreams that we have, that ambitious thing that nobody else would dare to dream but you, and people are on the side saying, I don't think you can do that, but you believe it in your heart, then keep on believing it, and keep on seeing it, and keep on talking to Spirit about it. And guess what? When you get there, It'll be greater than even you imagined because it's something that God created. In our minds, we think of things as best we can, as wonderfully as we can, but we can't create in our own minds anything nearly as wonderful as what God can do. Don't you want to get there and see how amazing and how magnificent it will be? And you'll be. And stop worrying about whether you deserve it or whether you shouldn't have it. It's your dream. You should have it. I love you. Have a marvelous, amazingly blessed and magical week. And I'll see you in the spirit next time.